Hello, Tugboat friends. I'm going to talk to you today about a life-changing event for me. It happened in January of 2019. In January of 2019, I was coming off of, in hindsight, a couple of hard years, really hard. I had founded the company in September of 2001, so I was 18 years into it, and I was starting to feel pretty bad. And I woke up one mid-January snowy day in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I couldn't go to do what I had been scheduled to do, which was go to a conference. And I'm like, wow, this is really weird. I just can't do this. So I took a few days off, and I thought a lot about where I was feeling and did a little research, and I self-diagnosed burnout, which turns out can be a very serious problem. It's also the kind of problem that sneaks up on you. And so I decided, you know what, I need to take more than 3 days off. And I sent a mail to the company and said, hey, I'm going to take 4 months off. And that was about as much prep as I gave it. I didn't plan on taking a sabbatical. I didn't use those words. I was having a conversation with my pastor about how I was feeling, and he just sort of asked me off the cuff, well, do you guys have a sabbatical program? And I said, no, we don't. And then I thought about it more later. I'm like, I can do this. I know I can. I've got great people who run the company. I've worked myself out of an operational role for the most part. If I can do this, and I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, why wouldn't I? So I did. And it turned out to be the most amazing experience. So when I say the word sabbatical, as a former professor, I think ambition. I think write a book, travel, do research, like all sorts of things. I didn't do any of that. I basically just stayed home. And that turned out to be exactly what I needed. It rested me. It helped me understand some things about myself and my situation. I took a meditation course, which also was valuable. I didn't come into work at all, and I kept up my external obligations, my boards and whatnot, but I didn't do any atomic work. One of the things I did do was I went on a silent retreat, and that was an eye-opening experience. First time I'd ever done that, day-long retreat. And one of the things that came out of that experience was realizing there are things that I still absolutely need to do for Atomic after 18 years, but I don't need to be the CEO to do it. And that kicked off a transition from me from founder CEO to founder chairman, which has been a wonderful thing. That was back in May of last year. If I hadn't done the sabbatical, I wouldn't have gotten the external perspective to understand that. I didn't understand sort of the waters I was swimming in. And I didn't see the succession that was planned, that was staring me in the face, which is the 2 people who have been with us for a long, long time and had managed our biggest office together, and were really looking for a new opportunity. So they are now our co-CEOs. And that's worked out extraordinarily well for 15 months. And as everyone is pretty aware, it's been a heck of a test, right? The first year of your CEO job, and you're dealing with all sorts of crazy stuff. So I think we made a good decision in that regard. And I've been able to contribute a lot to the company in my new position. But again, I couldn't have figured that out without this rest. And so I think about this, and we didn't have a sabbatical plan, as I mentioned. So I didn't have anything to go off of, and I just did it. And partly what I learned from it was that I proved to the company and myself that I didn't need to be running things anymore. Like, I could step out and we were just fine. So that's a super valuable thing to know, and it helps you in that transition from founder era to corporate era. So I think knowing that empowers the people you are having in your company in your leadership roles, gives them confidence, and they step up. They do what they have been doing and or need to do, and then everybody learns from it. So I highly recommend it. And actually, in the 15 months or so since I've been in this situation, I have testified about my experience to 3 or 4 friends who are founders or CEOs, and strangely enough, convinced 3 of them to do it too. And they also have had positive experiences. So I want to set a challenge for you all. As important as this was in my life, and as much as I learned, is to do it. And I don't mean like stop and define a program and with rules and how does it work across the whole company and how long and all of those things. Just stop and set a date in your calendar, it's sometime in the future, Make it real. I think 3 months is minimum. I did 4. Don't be ambitious. Don't commit to traveling. Don't commit to research. Don't commit to doing any sort of work. Don't commit to developing new businesses. Just commit to being home and being with yourself. Do recommend a meditation class. And then figure out, if you're not in the position I was in where I wasn't operational anymore, like make a list of the top 3 things that you have to hand off before your sabbatical date comes. Maybe you talk to your key leaders about this, about what's coming, to make it real for them. But just do it. Can't recommend it enough. Might change your life like it changed mine. Maybe even saved my life. Not too much of an exaggeration. At any rate, even if you end up coming back into the same job you were in, everybody will know more about their job. You'll know more about yourself. The company will be better off. It'll be a test run, perhaps, for the day when you aren't with the company anymore. It's a brave move. Put in your calendar. There's 75 of us, I think. Shoot, can't remember. But I want to add to that count of 3. I want more people to try this. And let me know when you do. Good luck.